Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the only podcast on the internet that stole Zach Morris's brick phone and used it to prank call Kelly Kapowski. I am Jimbo of Retro Game Lounge. In the Retro Game Lounge, that bearded fuck is Tyler from Metroids Primed. And welcome back to the regular Nerd Bucket podcast, regularly scheduled on your regular Nerd Bucket channel at your regular Nerd Bucket time. We're back. Just the two of us. I know it's disappointing, but...
Where's Johnny?
Who's Johnny? She said. Yeah, there we go. Little short circuit. So yeah, man, we're back. You know, just the dynamic duo, Bearded Wonder, Ball Bravado. Just, you know, frickin' frack. Bert and Ernie. You know, just like fucking.
I don't think it's
Batman and Robin.
I got the frickin' frack. I don't know if many other people get that. That's a radio show for those of you who didn't know, and I think it's since gone off the air, but it's still in syndication, is it not? The car show.
I had no idea that was a radio show. I just know it's like a fucking.
Oh, you didn't know that? No, that is literally a old school radio show about cars, fixing your own cars. Yeah, so well, the more you know.
Hopefully, they got the Bert and Ernie one. You know.
Yep.
If you don't know that, you can just check yourself the fuck out of this show. So yeah, man, we're back just doing our fucking regular thing. Just want to give a big shout out to Johnny, who is such an awesome guest. Thank you for being our first guest, but more importantly, Tyler, to our audience, who all kind of came out, man, and threw us some really fucking awesome questions. And like the questions kind of took over the show just because we had so much to go with, and we were having trouble keeping up with everybody. And we wanted to make sure that everyone at least got one question answered. We couldn't get to all of them, but. I think we did a pretty good job, but we got some really funny ass questions. I think we've got a great audience.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean they really participated well. I think we got a lot of new listeners from that last episode, and so you know it sounds like you guys liked us getting in a special guest, and I'm going to work on maybe trying to get a few other special guests lined up, maybe for the. What? So I'm working on one right now. Hopefully I can get that for the new year. But you know, with everybody doing the Christmas thing and the holidays, it's probably going to be just me and Jimbo, the dynamic duo for the rest of this year.
I'll give you guys a hint.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
I know who the secret guest is. It's Batman.
Actually, it was my beard.
You're gonna like take it off and put it in its own chair. That would actually.
You spoiled
be
the surprise.
Awesome. I'm sorry. Well, I think Batman would make a pretty cool guess. Like I'm fucking. That apparently is the quotable from the last pod. People keep like chatting me and throwing that at me. Like I'm Batman. I'm fucking Batman. You know, what are you talking like the Sinister Boy? It's like Superman wouldn't curse, but Batman would.
Well, Jimbo, like, you know, last podcast, it was, you know, right at the beginning of December, and now here we are about a week or two in, and are you feeling in the Christmas spirit yet?
No. Like, I'm one of those guys who just, I don't get there until it's time to get there. Like, it's the same thing with, like, Thanksgiving and crap. Like, people, like, just getting their shit on at the beginning of November. Like, dude, like, check back with me like the week before Thanksgiving. Then I'm gonna be getting in a game, you know, like just ready to go, get my fucking turkey on. Christmas, I mean, it's the first week, sorta. So it's like, fuck it, bah humbug. No, I'm kidding. No, I love Christmas. It's just not quite there yet. This is a slow starter for me, I think.
I put my Christmas tree up like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So.
Oh my god, you're one of those guys? Fuck, man, come on.
Look, you know, after Thanksgiving, like, there's so much, like, traveling on the weekends. I want to be able to enjoy my tree, you know, for a while. Like, I love the lights and all that. And, you know, yeah, I put it up. I put up
my Christmas tree.
Damn it, I like it.
What the fuck?
But, yeah, man, I'm, like, really getting in the Christmas spirit here. The other night, the girlfriend and I went on this in the town I live in, they're doing a Polar Express train ride, And I've never read the book or watched the movie or any of that, but it sounded like, something fun to do. But anyways, they're running this train from my town to like another town, and then
Mm-hmm.
they turn around and bring you back. But during the train ride, like, there were people that were couples, there were like families there with their kids and stuff. But during the train ride, I guess it kind of simulates the movie, like they're dancing up the aisles and they're playing Christmas music over the loudspeaker. They have lights, in the train cabs, and they serve you hot cocoa, and they give you cookies to eat, and I mean, it was a lot of fun. And something there's a good story out of all this. It's not just corny. We get up to this event, and there are all these like women up there with their hair like hair sprayed up, and like, how women do their hair when it's like a beauty pageant or prom, or I mean, it's just like frozen into place. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were like, I swear to God, like 40 women with their hair done like this, like a ton of makeup on it. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Like, did I make a right turn into Christmas hell? And
I think
my
so.
girlfriend's like, no, those are gypsies. And so we have this huge like gypsy village.
They're real?
Um, yeah, yeah, they're
Oh.
real. Have you never seen the TV shows about the gypsies? And they have all their kids there with them, and their kids are like, dressed, to the nines, like with their nice pajamas on. Like the little girls have makeup that are like, I mean, it's like caked on. Like they just were slathering them in makeup. And, I've never seen anything like this before. Like little kids, dolled up like that. And so it was so weird. I was like in the Twilight Zone. I was like, where in the hell did these people come from? And my girlfriend was like, yeah, those are gypsies. So I was like, I didn't even know that, that was such a thing. But
I'm gonna guess and say they're from Eastern Europe. It's just a
but
guess.
not that type of gypsy, but apparently, there's a lot of TV shows now about these gypsies, my gypsy, wedding and blah blah blah. And apparently they like, you know, they pimp out their kids and stuff. These people have like signs in their yard like saying all their kids like accomplishments and whatnot. It's a very weird thing. I was like, maybe this is a alternate lifestyle I've never heard of before, but I just thought it was odd. And I mean, these little girls like dressed up like 30-year-old, women or something. I mean, it was weird. It was like, have you ever seen the little kid pageants like Honey Boo Boo, the way they dress up there? Those little girls for
I'm
those beauty
trying
pageants.
to forget that, but yes. Thank
Well,
you.
it just got
Yeah,
emblazoned
thanks.
in your mind.
Thank you.
But just, just to get away from the gypsy stuff, because we had to take our mind off of that. But we went back home, and it's always like tradition during Christmas to pull out all the Christmas movies and start watching over the course of the month. So we started off with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original cartoon, and then I picked up that old school Christmas set with like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like claymation,
Fuck yeah,
and it
claymation.
had like Frosty the Snowman and something else in it. But yeah, it was like $10. I was like, $10? Yes. So I've got a whole, stack of movies. And not only like the family movies, but you've got to have like your disturbing like action movies that are set around Christmas.
Oh, I
Like
know what's coming.
Die Hard and I want to say End of Days is like right around Christmas, and I like watching that around Christmas. As disturbing
Wow.
as that is,
Oh,
there's
buddy.
some other stuff. I forget what the other action movies were that I had set out, but I've got a little stack of those too. So
This is like the nerdiest, other than the fucking board games things last week. This is like the nerdiest you have been. Like you're a fucking Christmas nerd. Like this is like your thing.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Oh, and with the Christmas movies, you know, you've got to have Home Alone 1 and 2.
Oh god,
Yeah.
Jesus man, you're killing me. And dude, this comes
Dude,
from the fucking host of Dirt Flicks, and I'm rolling my eyes at a movie. Damn, that's got to tell you something. It's like torture.
You don't like Home Alone?
Dude, fuck Home Alone. Oh my god. Like if I never watch that movie again for the rest of my life, that would be totally awesome. But I know I'm gonna catch it on TBS or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want to hear our Bucketeers come alive and give Jimbo an earful about how
Fuck Home Alone.
wrong he is about this Home Alone business.
It's
And
not
I'm sure
funny.
next year you're gonna tell us. Next you're gonna tell us that you hate A Christmas Story.
Oh, are you
right?
fucking kidding me? No, hell no, I don't hate that fucking movie. I got a freaking Red Ryder BB gun in my office. I'm not being funny. I
Jimbo?
actually have one.
Jimbo, you're such a disease.
Oh god. Oh, just fuck Home Alone. It's not funny. Like if I was, it was funny when I was 10 years old, but it's not funny now. It's not like A Christmas Story where every time I watch it, it's funny, or Christmas Vacation. To me, that's the ultimate Christmas movie. That is like the fucking name among names. And it never stops being funny. Like Home Alone, I could sit through that whole thing, dude, and we could put 2 fucking bills on the table, and I'd be like, I'll tell you what, if I laugh once during this whole thing, you can take those home with you. I would win that fucking bet, dude.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it's not my brain. Dude, fuck Macaulay Culkin. There, I fucking said it. Fuck McCulkin. I'm gonna shorten his name to McCulkin.
Nobody likes Macaulay
Fuck
Culkin.
any movie where they put Joe Pesci in it and he can't curse. Like he has to like make up curse words like no, if it's Joe Pesci, like fuck that fucking little fucking kid, I'm gonna fucking rip his fucking eyes out. I mean that's you waste Joe Pesci, fucking bullshit, man. I mean, oh.
Bucketeers, rise up and let Jimbo know your ire.
I'll tell you what. You want to watch a good fucking John Hughes Christmas movie? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's a lot more my speed, and that is a Christmas movie.
That's a great movie, John. I can't remember. It's been so long since I saw it. All I know is but you know what? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has in it? John Candy.
And he's funny.
And guess what? Home Alone has?
It's a John Hughes movie. Of course John Candy's in it.
Hey.
You know what Uncle Buck has in it? John Candy, because it's a fucking John Hughes movie. Of course, dude. But I think Planes, Trains might be Thanksgiving. I think that might be
your life together.
It's close enough, man. And dude, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of the funniest fucking scenes I've ever seen in any movie when they go between the 2 semi trucks. Like they're on the wrong side of the road, and like somebody's yelling them like, "You're going the wrong way!" And they're like, "How the fuck do they know where we're going? Like, what are you, drunk?" And it doesn't occur to them they're on a one-way road, and then car goes through it, sparks are flying, and then freaking Steve Martin looks over at John Candy and he sees him as the devil. He's like,
that's always
the best.
I always remember that scene from Seen It, the very first edition of Seen It, the DVD edition.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was on Xbox, but we always would play that, and they'd always do that scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's the best.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Fucking.
Well, you know, Jimbo, you're just gonna have to get used to it, man, because we got so many more weeks until Christmas, and I'm gonna pack all kinds of Christmas goodies into this podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, one of us has to be Bah Humbug, so I guess that's this guy. Fucking Christmas.
Hey, well, I think this would segue, perfectly into this week's bucket list.
Which, by the way, Tyler, we have a sponsor for this week's bucket list. Do you want to know who it is?
Who is it, Jimbo?
Well, it actually happens to be the company that hooked us both up with these awesome T-shirts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
In Tyler's case, the Goonies. In my case, Saved by the Bell, Kelly Kapowski. Well, that would be 80stees.com. And anyone who's watched my stuff, I've actually done a couple of commercials for 80stees.com. They're a really cool company. And let me give you little bit of the rundown here, man. I'm gonna school you, Tyler, since you're new to the 80stees.com universe. I'm gonna give you the 411 here. So you fucking ready?
Take me to school.
All right, buckle up, dude. Did you know that 80stees.com believes that life was better back then? That back then being the 80s, when the weekend actually began with Saturday morning cartoons, because that was when my weekend began.
Those were the good old days.
Yes, and the M and MTV actually still meant something. Meant music. Way back when.
Music for you younger generation.
Yes. And the 80stees.com also believes that remakes will never be better than an original. Ever. I think I can...
Who's Betty?
That. Who's Betty? I don't know. Better, Betty. They're the same word, really. And that's... They can take those original movies, can take our childhood movies and redo them, but they can never take our childhood memories. Damn right. Like
or our freedom.
Oh, freedom! And that's also at 80stees.com that they strongly believe, Tyler, that Han shot first. And that knowing
damn straight
really is half the battle. Damn right it is. And freedom, most importantly, is most definitely the right of all sentient beings. They believe that the unplanned conversations with people who share our connection to a movie, cartoon, video game are fun, and that a simple t-shirt has the power to inspire these moments of joy. They believe that the clothes we wear say a lot and a little about who we are and the things that we love, because no one ever said, "Hey dude, I like your t-shirt," to someone wearing a boring button-down. They're geeks, nerds, rock stars, and superheroes. They are 80s tees, and their mission, Tyler, is to delight and amaze the kid in us all.
And to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Where no nerd has gone before.
I like it.
Fuck yeah. So, special thanks to 80stees.com for helping out the bucket. They're fans of the podcast. You can check them out at 80s, that's 80, the numerals, STs, 80stees.com. And if they give you a little comment section where they ask you about your purchase, tell them Jimbo and Tyler and the Nerd Bucket sent you here. Because that would be really awesome. And no, they're not paying us at all. We just got free t-shirts.
Thanks, 80s Tees.
Yes, thank you, 80s Tees. See, what we've also given you here is something to aspire to. All you really need is a podcast centered around 80s Tees type stuff, 80s stuff. And then people just want to give you t-shirts. It's amazing. So I think, what we should do? We should send them like a Nerd Bucket shirt. Because we're wearing the
I think we should.
We could be like, dude, here you go. Merry Christmas. There, is that Christmas enough for you? That's as far as I'm going to go today. I'm not going any further than that.
Oh, my word.
Fucking Xmas.
You're getting a lump of coal in your stocking this
That's
year,
fine.
young man.
I'm a grown-up. I can buy all the things that I want. That's the benefit of being a grown-up.
All right. Well, I thought this week I wanted to do something that Jimbo could really get behind.
Oh, God.
And that was a Christmas themed bucket list.
Okay.
And I thought this week we would look back and maybe talk about our top 3 gifts we got for Christmas, maybe video gaming related, something that you have nostalgic memories of, from your childhood, even up to any time in grade school. So
that works.
Jimbo, do you want to start this off?
I guess I can do that. Let's see. Which one should I start with? Well, okay. Well, I'll get the elephant out of the room because I'm sure everyone is sick to death of me fucking talking about this, so I'll keep this short. That would be the Christmas in 1989, which was also the year that the TurboGrafx came out.
I knew it!
That was basically the only thing on my Christmas list, although my parents did get me a few other odds and ends. And I honestly didn't, because I asked Santa Claus for it, because my parents didn't have a lot of money. And, growing up, actually, my parents struggled quite a bit. And, they were like, well, why don't you ask Santa Claus? I was like, yeah, why don't I ask Santa Claus, just in case? Yeah, because I was like 10, and they didn't tell me that Santa Claus wasn't real until I was 11. It's bullshit. So I asked, just please, Santa, please, can you bring me a TurboGrafx 16? I think I actually wrote him a letter in school, in second grade or whatever. I was like, this is the only thing that I want. I want to be part of the Turbo 16-bit graphic generation, you know, because 8-bit is for fucking kids. And I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a big boy, and I just want a TurboGrafx so I can be turbo powered. And I got one, and it was awesome. I think if they had a video camera rolling, remember that that famous video going around where the kid opens the N64 thing?
Best reaction video ever.
I'm pretty sure my reaction was just about at that level. It was just like, TurboGrafx! Oh! Like, I fucking, like, powered up into Super Saiyan mode, like, oh! You know, yeah. It's probably just about at that same level where I ascended to Saiyan form.
Nice.
I didn't want to do anything else, man. I only had 2 games. I had Keith Courage that came with it. My parents bought me the Legendary Axe, which was my first game, and I still have them. So
those are 2 really good games to start off with for the
so.
TurboGrafx.
Keith Courage gets a lot of hate, but it's not a bad game. Like it's not a bad game. It's a hard game, but it's not a bad.
And Legendary Axe is really good too. And I think they made some.
I love Legendary Axe. I don't know why the second one gets all the love. The second one isn't bad, but is it as good as the first one? In my opinion, no way, dude. The first one fucking killed it. So that if I had to pick one at the top of my list, I guess that would be it. That's still today. That's like my Red Ryder BB gun present. You know, the greatest present I've ever received.
Nice.
That's a pretty good present. So, Bearded Wonder, go ahead and one-up me because I know you're all Christmas nerdy fucking spaced out. And yeah, go ahead. Hit me.
Well, this first one is going to be Star Wars related.
Ooh.
I'll never forget getting my Nintendo 64 during Christmas.
You were that kid.
And this, yeah, I was that kid. I got a Nintendo 64, and you know I'll never forget that first Christmas break after getting it. Just spending a ton of time playing Shadows of the Empire, and how amazing that game was for the Nintendo 64. And I believe that was that a launch title for the N64, or did it come out after?
I think it was
I
after.
know we did not get a N64 right when they launched, but
it's probably a
we
holiday
got it
release.
right
if I had to
but
guess.
you know, one thing that was so awesome about that Star Wars game was the Battle of Hoth right at the beginning. I mean, that was like the first time you were actually doing like a 3D flyover of the Battle of Hoth, and you were getting to take down the AT-ATs and the ATSTs, and you know, it was really awesome back then. And one thing I love about that game is it had the flying missions. It had a race. You know, you do like a speeder race in one of the sand planets or whatever, and
Tatooine.
Of course, was it Tatooine? Okay,
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. Because did you have to like ramp over the Sarlacc pit or something like that? Okay, but anyway, so I mean, there was just so much awesomeness in that one game, and that to me, I mean, you know, a lot of people look back at the N64 and they remember the Mario 64, and I'm more partial to you know, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. So that's my first good Christmas memory.
Have you played it recently?
I want to say I played it a couple months ago.
Does it still hold up?
It does, actually. The shooting missions aren't... The shooting missions are kind of weird because... Do you remember the... how your laser would... Yeah, it starts off at a really strong, like 100%, and as you shoot, it goes down or whatever. That part's kind of tedious, but I still enjoy it to this day, honestly. And I remember fighting Boba Fett in that. You remember that?
Oh,
He was a
dude.
badass. Uh,
I think we're gonna have to go north south on this one. I didn't hate Shadows of the Empire when it came out. I was like, I was as amazed by it as you were, you know, because it's like 3D fucking Star Wars. But bro, there is a reason that like the blocky 64-bit era graphics are dead right now, and the stuff that's up before that is still big, like the 8-bit and 16-bit kind of art style. It just, it's
well,
just so clunky.
the it is clunky, and I tell you, a game that did not hold up as well to me ever on the 64 was Star Fox, and you know that was kind of their thing, that blocky graphics.
Yeah.
But I mean, even back then, yeah, you know, a lot of those games like back then were amazing graphics,
Oh,
you
sure.
know,
Back then it was
and
like
now.
mind blown.
But I mean, even now, I can go back and play it. Now, there's some games I go back to, and it's just like I can't play this, you know, anymore. This isn't how I remember it. But you know, that's not one of them. I did go back and play like the first two or three levels, and still enjoyed it, you know. So,
That works.
mm-hmm. All right, let's get your number two.
Uh, let's see. I honestly didn't think of mine in advance, with the exception of the turbo one, but I do remember right around. This probably would have been the early '90s, if I remember right, when TMNT was all the rage, and you know, even back then, us kids who played the original Ninja Turtles game were like, "This isn't the fucking arcade game." Like even back then, we were kind of disappointed that it was nothing like the arcade. And then we start seeing the advertisements in Nintendo Power, you know, that they're making a sequel and it's the arcade game. And of course, we're
Mm-hmm.
like excited beyond fucking belief. We're like, "Oh my god!" So I remember how big the craze was for that game. I would go out on a limb and say that that was probably the number one video game of the Christmas season. Like it was the game to have, and it was almost impossible to get. Um, my parents told me about it. Obviously, I got it for Christmas last year, but I got a big box full of NES games, that and a bunch of other stuff. And I remember my parents telling me after the fact how the lengths that they had to go to get this game, and it was not easy. They eventually ended up getting in a Toys R Us, and they basically got it like right off the truck, like as they
Oh
were
wow.
bringing it in. Like they had boxes of it, and they handed people out, and you can go to the register and stuff like that. So I mean, it hadn't been put on the fucking sales floor yet, and the demand for this was so huge. And she basically, one of the sales associates they were helping unload the truck, she handed the guy like a list of NES games that I wanted, and he basically went and got them all and brought them back to her, and that was one of them. Because I mean, you know, right around 1990, like the NES was basically at the fever pitch, like it was as big as it was going to be, because it was still the Super Nintendo was still a couple years away, and like Nintendo mania had like gripped the fucking country, dude. I mean, this was like akin to Beatlemania, I would say. This was like a fucking phenomenon. Like it was taking over television. They had TV shows. You know, it was on your lunchbox. But you were reading Nintendo Power. You were playing the games. You had Mario on your shirt. I mean, this was like a bona fide fucking brand. This was the Disney of video games. And I remember getting it and being so freaking jazzed to get to play with it. I played with this kid who lived next door to me, since he unfortunately didn't get it for Christmas. But oddly enough, he introduced me to Nintendo. The first Nintendo I ever played was at his house. The first game I think was probably Super Mario Bros. Second game was Castlevania. Like, of course, I'd heard of Nintendo, but I'd never played an NES until he invited me. He was like, "Yeah, man, you want to come over and play on Nintendo?" I was like, "Are you kidding?" He was like my first friend who had a Nintendo. But oddly enough, he did not have that game. But I had that game, which made me instantly the most popular kid on the block. So, never completed TMNT, the arcade game for the NES. That's to this day a fucking hard game. But luckily, I grew up
Oh yeah, it is.
and I made money, and I bought a TMNT arcade cabinet, and I can beat that because I have infinite quarters. And Tyler has one too.
Speaking of that, I had one of my buddies from out of town come over
Hmm.
last night. Spent the night. He was um, stationed over here in, close to me at one of the military bases, and he came over and we had to pop out um, the arcade cabinet, and we got some stools and set up for the long haul to beat the
Wow.
game. We actually did it with quarters. I didn't count up exactly how much money it took. I can add it up in the change drawer, but needless to say, we pumped in quite a few quarters to that game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's my second Christmas memory, the TMNT Christmas memory.
That's a good one, man.
Eh, just shooting from the hip. What's yours?
Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to get your opinion on this, but I know that for the most part, Toys R Us I don't think does this anymore. But you remember, like, that store had the lamest setup for video games.
What's that?
You know, like, you just have to like pull out the ticket for the video game and then take it to that little booth that was
I
like
remember
all
that.
closed up, and you know have to trade it. You couldn't. I mean, part of the cool thing about like going to Sears back in the day, and because I remember Sears like is where I first played the yeah, I guess it was the first time I played like Saturn, the PlayStation, a lot of those games, and
Hmm.
a lot of the other stores had like a glass case, and you could look in and see all the games, you know, lined up and stuff. But I always thought Toys R Us had such a lame setup for video games.
Yeah, because you couldn't see the actual
But
game. You just had to take the little
hmm
ticket. Yeah.
but my number two was the Christmas that I got The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and that to this day still is my favorite Zelda game. It really, a lot of people don't know this, but we didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. That was something I got later in life. You know, my first system was a Game Boy, as I've said on this channel many times. And, you know, playing the games on that, of course, wasn't the same as playing it on an NES. We got a NES. I want to say we bought one, you know, when the after the Super Nintendo came out from somebody that didn't want their Nintendo anymore. We paid like maybe $20 for it, and you know, got a stack of games with it. But we were always kind of late to the game in my family. Like my parents just didn't really, you know, place much importance on video games and stuff. We had a computer. That was our video game machine. We had the IBM Tandy or whatever back in the day.
Hmm.
And we played like King's Quest and stuff like that. That was our video games back in the day. But when we got the N64 was like one of the very first systems I got other than the Game Boy that, you know, I could get games like when they came out at launch. And that Christmas, my mom like had done really well, you know, for her because she didn't know anything about video games, but she went to Electronics Boutique as it was before GameStop bought them out.
Hmm.
Um, Went to Electronics Boutique and pre-ordered the collector's edition. So I mean, she did it up, got the nice collector's edition with the gold cart, the hologram front to it, and that, you know, was a special Christmas because that game was so groundbreaking at the time it came out. You know, just the graphics on it. I mean, it still holds up to this day. Even playing, yeah, I played it not too long ago on the Nintendo 3DS, and I mean, you turn off the 3D, and that's the graphics that we had back then,
Hmm.
and it still looks great. You know, still one of the best games of all time, and you know, I think I ended up going through and beating it all during that Christmas break. But definitely one of my fondest video game memories from Christmas.
Awesome. Well, let's see. I'm gonna go back a little ways in this, and I'm hoping I'm getting all this right because I was very young, but I think I've got enough memory to piece this together. This would probably be back when I was 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And I was living in this tiny little house that my parents were renting. That's my oldest memory. It's the first house we lived in. Um, And of course, the big thing with me back then, Masters of the Universe. That was literally my entire fucking universe. It began and
Hell
ended
yeah.
with He-Man. Always racing home from school to watch it and everything. I mean, that was the fucking shit right there. And I remember, when that really took off and they really, they started basically pumping out the figures, and the show was basically like a commercial for the figures. They introduced a new character, and of course, hey, we have a figure for it. Buy this at your local Toys R Us. It was fucking perfect advertising, man. The '80s was the shit. And speaking of which, before I continue with this, guys, watch the History Channel this Wednesday, which is probably when you're going to be listening and or watching this. They're doing basically Christmas of years past, and on Wednesday they're covering the '80s. So like the Cabbage Patch Kid, the Walkman, like all that other shit that the '80s, as far as I'm concerned, is when Christmas became like a thing. When you had like,
Jimbo, are you going to watch that?
of
It
course,
is Christmas related.
dude. But it's also '80s related. So it gets a pass. Like, as far as
Okay.
I'm concerned, and if I were to ask my parents this, I think they would probably agree with me that the '80s is when, like, the must-have toy thing began. Like, when it became almost like a competition. The Black Friday thing and all that other stuff. Like, that's kind of the genesis of what we know is Christmas today. Like, when Tyler and I were little. And when Master Universe when that hit, in the early '80s, right around '82, '83 is when it really blew up. When I was just a little kid, even as a kid, I knew that was a big deal because it was everywhere. I mean, it was like the only thing that I remember from being little Jimbo that was bigger would be Cabbage Patch Kids. I mean, you couldn't fucking escape those things; they were everywhere. But He-Man, very, very close second. As far as like boys' toys, I mean, it was He-Man and G.I. Joe. That was number one and number two. Transformers eventually caught up, but I mean, those two were like the two. And of course, making out my little Christmas list and stuff, and I couldn't really write very well back then since I'm only 4 years old, but so I basically had to, my mom would sit with me and she would watch, hi mom, Masters of the Universe, and she would pay attention to the things that I liked about the show, and I'm like, I wish I had that figure. I honestly don't remember which figures I got, but I do remember that I got a lot of them. I don't even know how many, 15 or 20, maybe.
Oh,
I mean, my mom basically
motherload.
fucking cleaned them out, dude. I already had He-Man and Skeletor at that point. I didn't have very many at that point because I was just starting to get into Masters of the Universe. I probably had Beastman. I didn't have any vehicles. I didn't have Castle Grayskull. But if I remember correctly, I may be mixing a birthday and Christmas. I'm pretty sure that I got Castle Grayskull was my big Christmas present because I didn't have any play sets or anything.
Hell yeah.
They gave me one of the hero vehicles. The name is escaping me right now, but I would know it if I heard it. It's the kind of one where it's like, it's definitely a hero vehicle where the person on the front is like almost riding a motorcycle and it's attached to this big freaking like six-wheel car, and the front of it came off and turned into a little hover bike that would hold the figure and you could fly around and shit. And it's blue, I think. I can't remember the name right now. I saw it recently at a toy store, so I'm like completely blanking, but I got that, so I had a little thing to ride He-Man and Teo and Man of Arms, around my living room and have adventures. And God, I don't even know how many figures, man. I had like Battle Damage He-Man, Battle Damage Skeletor, Evelyn, Tila, Man at Arms. I think I got Moss Man that year. Ram Man, Mecha Neck, Triclops, Trapjaw. I mean, like, dude, heroes, villains. I was having like full scale fucking embattlements in my living room. Like I had the sides stacked and everything, man. Like He-Man defending Castle Grayskull and shit. I even had Orko, yes, and he had that little thing where you're like, whoo, and you pull him up and he talks. Yeah, dude, that was it for me. I used to have one of these. I don't even know what you would fucking call this, dude. Like, because they don't make stuff like this anymore. It was like almost like a tent, I guess you could say, because you put it together with like a frame and it had these little banners that hung on it, and it was like a kid-sized Castle Grayskull. It was really simple.
wow.
It wasn't really elaborate. Like the stuff was made of like that rubbery crap that it would make Halloween costume stuff out of, almost like a shower curtain liner. And it was done up like Castle Grayskull, but it was just literally like a plastic frame with these things held over it. But I could fit inside of it. So you had like your own personal Castle Grayskull, and I'm sure they made a Snake Mountain one and the like and stuff. But Yeah, I do have, I think, enough memory left in my brain to remember like the Masters of the Universe Christmas, and it was fucking epic. Like it just, I'd open one, and I'm like, my mom's like, "Here, open this," and I'm like, "There's more." Like I remember even being impressed back then.
More?
Like what? Oh? So, thanks, mom and dad. I got lucky and had two pretty cool parents who actually paid attention when their only son told him that's all he wanted in his little tiny Jimbo heart for Christmas. Mommy, I want He-Man.
This really makes me want us to do a podcast just on 80s toys. Like I think we ought
I'm
to
sure we
dedicate
could.
an entire episode. Yeah.
No, we could call it
Because we can what?
the toy bucket.
Bucket of toys? Toy bucket? I like
Toy
it.
bucket.
Let's do that. Toy bucket indeed. So y'all be looking forward to that in the future.
I think we can do that.
Um my last memory here takes me back to the 11th grade of high
Does that
school.
count?
And yeah,
All
and
right.
and you're going to hear why in just a second.
Okay.
I said anything grade school, so that counts as
Well, that's high school.
all right. That's still a grade, isn't it?
No, that's high school. Grade school is grade 1 through 8. At least in my
Oh,
neck of the woods, maybe down there it counts something different. But no, it's all good, man. Go ahead. What's up?
all right. So and you'll see why this gets a pass. I wanted to do all memories from childhood, but I had to throw this one in.
Is this N64 related?
All right, so no. This is another great system, but this was 11th grade of high school, and December the 3rd, 1999.
I know what this is.
Our house caught on fire, and half of it burned, and so we lost a lot of stuff in the house. There was a lot of smoke damage. All my games and systems, all that burned up or had smoke damage, so just had to throw them away basically. And the one thing I wanted that Christmas, the new system had come out, and I'd seen it, and when my parents got the insurance money, I told them there was just one thing I wanted, and that was the Sega Dreamcast. And so they took me to Toys R Us that year, and I think Toys R Us was like one of the few places that actually had Dreamcast left, and I got the starter bundle. And I want to say they were pretty much sold out of every game except NBA 2K. So that was when and back then, like NBA 2K was the shit. I know we all talk about how sports games suck, but like when those 2K games came out, they were incredible graphics compared to what we had played on the N64 and all that. But the one game that me and all my friends had wanted was NFL 2K because it was just like groundbreaking at that time. And they were sold out of everywhere in Hattiesburg, and which is where I'm from. And anyways, so that was a great Christmas present right there. Just having a Sega Dreamcast and being able to play a system and all that. And then we all know, like, I have fond memories of the Dreamcast. Well, the summer before, we had went to a leadership conference. I made friends with this girl that was a counselor there, and she went to UNC, and I guess it was at Chapel Hill. In their UNC school up there in North Carolina? In their one at Chapel Hill, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, it was she was at some division of UNC, going to school up there to be a nurse anesthetist, and anyways, like when they found out our house burned, like they made it their like calls to for that Christmas as like a project with their dorms and their school. UNC like adopted our family or whatever, and they like surprised us one day. They just showed up with like a van full of like stuff for our family,
Wow.
clothes, like gift cards and stuff. And I guess my friend Jared, shout out to my buddy Jared. He actually told her that I wanted NFL 2K, and he said he wanted, and he told her I wanted an extra controller, and that was really so he could play.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so she comes in and she takes care of our entire family. It was like 4 or 5 people drove all the way from North Carolina down. During her break, took time out to drive down, and this was like a several day, trip and trip back up there, and brought us presents, brought me that game and that controller, and what would have turned out to be a really bad Christmas, with bad memories from that Christmas, turned into a really cool one, and
That's awesome.
made friend for life. So a really cool story there from Christmas back when something bad happens. It's always good to help out somebody that's in need, and we definitely were having a hard time, and thank goodness somebody was there to make it better. But that was a really fine Christmas memory of mine.
I don't have a story like that.
Well, it's okay. That's a good thing in itself, because that would mean something horrible happened. So
Yeah, that's true. No house burning down at my place, thankfully.
all right, so now on a lighter note, I've got a little video game story. I ended up taking back Star Wars Battlefront.
Shocker.
The one that I did not pay
Paid
for.
for it, yeah. Well, the one that you paid for, but you taking it back means that you didn't pay for it at all.
No, if you remember, back a couple weeks ago when I ordered Battlefront, they sent me 2 copies of it. So I got in 2 copies of Battlefront, that I paid for only 1 copy.
Oh,
So
I get it.
so I sent 1 copy back to Amazon, got my money back, and so I'm sitting on a free copy. Well, I've been playing it a little bit, and I really haven't been enjoying it like I thought I would. So
Okay. Now I'm with you.
back in the day, it was so nice, like having a buddy. I had this friend Ryan that worked at Electronics Boutique, and if we ever didn't like a game, we could just take it up there to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he would just take it back, and we could pick out something else. And he was a manager at EB, and he would somehow fudge it to where it was okay for us to pick out something else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, now in these days you're pretty much stuck with whatever you buy, unless you buy it from Amazon. But then you still take a hit for paying the shipping back to them. Well, me being thrifty, I thought, well, I could just take it back to Walmart. And so my original plan was to take it back to Walmart and see if they would trade it for something else, or worst case scenario, get a brand new copy in the shrink wrap and then take it to GameStop and see if they would trade it for something else. Well, I ended up taking it to Walmart yesterday, and took it to customer service, and they're like, you don't have a receipt. You can only trade this in for something for basically the same game. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I walk back there, get another copy of Battlefront, still in the shrink wrap, and when I get it in my hands, I'm like, oh, crap. The copy that came from Walmart actually has like an exclusive Walmart Topps Star Wars card in it or something for that copy. So that screwed over my whole plan to take it to GameStop, because they'd be like, this isn't our copy. This clearly came from Walmart. So anyway, I went to a different Walmart today in the town I work in, and I was like, oh, I got this as a gift. I want a different game or whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. Go back and get it. So I went back and I got Rise of the Tomb Raider. And get this, Rise of the Tomb Raider went down $20. So not only did I get my game, not only did I get my game, but I got a $21 gift card too.
Wow.
So So yeah,
I was about to like lampoon you for saying like, yeah, see where dishonesty gets you, Tyler? You get
it gets
godsmacked.
you,
It gets you
you,
Rise of the Tomb
you
Raider.
gets you Rise of the Tomb Raider and a gift card. So
Motherfucker. Well, maybe
and
I'll have a
it's
story like that
it's
someday.
getting great reviews. It's
Oh, dude, I'm
getting
sure
like
it's was it
90
Crystal
something.
Dynamics or whatever the guys who did the first one. I fucking love the first one.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I did. So and this is I should have known better. You know, when I first bought this game, I was like, you know, I don't like multiplayer only games, but I'm gonna like this one because it's Star Wars. It looks so cool. And then it came out, and it was everything I feared it would be. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now, Jimbo. If any other games come out and they're only multiplayer, I'm not buying them. I'm just. I think you've already actually made that statement that you're not buying a multiplayer only game. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like I'm not buying any more multiplayer only games. It's a waste of money. We talked about it with Johnny last week. He's basically the same opinion we are. These companies are stupid for only doing multiplayer only games. It's time to go back to multiplayer being a secondary aspect of the game. The main game is the single player, and add the multiplayer in with it. And my whole theory on this is that's why Titanfall fell off so fast because people had no reason to play that game other than the multiplayer. So when you get tired of the multiplayer, there's no point in keeping the disc. Like Titanfall, I love the multiplayer in it. It was a lot of fun, but if they would have had a badass mech campaign that you could play, about 12, 13 levels in addition to the multiplayer, like I would have had reason to go back and play that again. And hell, I might have played the multiplayer longer because I still had the disc. I might have like, well, I want to play a little Titanfall multiplayer today, but I can't do that because I traded it in. And companies aren't thinking of it like that. They're thinking like, all right, these kids are only playing this game just because of multiplayer. But personally for me, I've never had that thought like I only want to play the multiplayer on this game. It's do I want to play the campaign, and then if I like the campaign, like yeah, I'll try out the multiplayer. It's just a bonus to that single player, campaign. So
I hate multiplayer. It's
I
boring.
do.
It's
I'm getting
boring
where
to
I
me,
am
dude.
too.
People who only do
And
multiplayer, and I'm gonna quote Activision, or not even Activision, fucking Infinity Ward, when they're talking about COD players, they have basically freely admitted that COD multiplayer gamers are not gamers. So there's the guys making the #1 franchise in the fucking world saying that multiplayer only people aren't gamers. And I would absolutely agree with that. I know that's going to piss some people off, but if that's really all you do, you're not a fucking gamer. That's like saying because you watch the Super Bowl that you're a football player. You're not. You're just a guy who fucking watches it. It's not the same thing, guys. It's a gamer is someone who wants to get so engrossed in something in a completely different universe, almost not necessarily like you can't be cooperative, but you can also be in a singular capacity. It's not really something that's easily explained. It's if that's really all you do is just do that to fucking noobs and stuff like that. That's basically the new kickball. That's the new wiffle ball. That's the new fucking playground shit. That's really all that is. It's not gaming, at least not the way I would define it. So,
yeah,
God can kiss my ass. That being said, I really want the new Black Ops, but I want to play it for the zombies mode. I don't give a fuck about anything else. So, yeah. Thanks for listening, COD players. And I just want to be clear. It's the people who play that exclusively, meaning they basically play Madden and COD. And you know who you are. We all know someone who fucking does that. Where that's all they play is Madden and fucking COD. That's it. If that's all you do, you ain't a fucking gamer. If you play that, but you're playing like Zelda and all this other shit, yeah, you're still a fucking gamer. You just like, you play one fucking shitty game per year, apparently. And that's fine. I play one shitty game per year. But no, COD, Black Ops, Zombies campaign. I can't wait. Speaking of which, Tyler, it's been the better part of a week, and we haven't played Zombie Army Trilogy yet. I'm very disappointed in that. If I didn't have Fallout, I'd be even more pissed off.
Well, I think that probably with work the way it is right now and all that, I think we're probably going to have to wait till it slows down a little bit after the holidays. But that's like the perfect time for playing some games. The perfect time because there's nothing going on. I'm gonna have the entire weekend to devote to this. So, and I've already told the girlfriend. I said, "Look, girlfriend, look here. After the holidays, we're not doing shit. We're going to sit around, and I'm gonna veg out and I'm playing some video games. Damn it!" So
I'm gonna remember you said that, and the whole world is too because it's now in public record. Okay.
that's right.
All right. Well, I've fucking waited this long. I guess I can wait a few more weeks. God damn it. Shit. You're lucky I have Fallout. That's the only thing occupying my video game time right now. It really is. I haven't played a
Well,
single other game since Fallout.
I haven't really either. I've got a stack of games now that have my name waiting on playing them. Uh, right after Christmas, I've got Mortal Kombat, the new one. I've got Army Trilogy. Now I've got Tomb Raider. I've asked for a ton of games for Christmas, so I'm sure that's going to be in there too. Some of those. So I'm gonna have a probably 6 or 8 game stack. I don't know. I just got in the Uncharted series. I doubt I'm going to go back and play all this before the new game comes out because I mean those are still pretty fresh on my mind and my memory. So, but yeah, there's going to be a ton of games for after Christmas for us to play.
Zombie Army Trilogy needs to be at the top of your list.
All right, we will move it to
Because
the
it's
top.
fucking awesome.
If we could play like a level a night, I heard some of the levels are like 45 minutes to an hour. So,
But fun.
um, oh yeah, yeah, I'd say nothing but great reviews for that game. I
Hmm.
think it kind of got overshadowed a bit.
It did. I mean, it's basically. I almost want to say like very going back to COD, like the whole thing with Treyarch when they introduced zombies mode with World at War, and it was just an extra thing that was on the disc, and they never expected it to become a thing. But they started looking at the multiplayer stats, and they noticed that more people were playing zombies than competitive multiplayer, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Then they start putting out like more maps for it, and this was before people like before they were making the quote DLC before the game, had even released. They actually made all this shit after the fact and released additional map
Hmm.
packs and made a story and characters and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's how you do fucking DLC. So, Zombie Army Trilogy, very similar, started off as just a simple mod to the Sniper Elite series. But it became so popular, the reason it's called Trilogy is because they did 3 different versions of it. And it became such a big deal. They're like, well, why don't we bring this to console? And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Because I had heard about it forever. I'm like, that's really the only way you can improve. And I love the Sniper Elite games. The only way you can improve them. Like, you give us, like, the zombies option. They already added co-op. Well, I was like, sweet. But give me the zombie option and make it 4-player. Oh, fuck. I'm in. So, fuck yeah. It's awesome. So, I got to ask you the question, dude. This is rhetorical. I'm just actually just doing this as a segue. So, if that's a problem, go fuck yourself, everyone. Superman versus Batman. Batman versus Superman. Trailer number 2. Is it Batman Superman or Superman Batman?
Superman v Batman, I
Okay.
believe.
I always get it mixed up because it's like, who cares? I mean,
Hold on, let me look that up. We got
Superman
to be
should have first billing because it's a sequel to Man of Steel. So I think he should come first. It's not a technically it's not a
Batman
Batman.
v Superman.
Okay, see that's fucking bullshit. All right, whatever. Anyways, Batman v Superman, whatever stupid fucking title they're coming up with now. Okay, so you've seen the trailer. I know because we talked about this previously. Again, that's just my stupid segue. And I've seen the trailer. My initial reaction, holy fucking shit. Like I was like
That was word for
incredible.
word what he texted me.
I think that's exactly what I said actually. I was like, holy fucking shit. Because it was like so big in its scale that I was like, holy shit. I was just
Mhm.
so amazed. I mean, we got to see an exchange between Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. We got to see um, fucking Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Let's see, what else? They revealed a couple things that they probably shouldn't have. Probably a little bit too early. It's spoilers, guys. Wait, can we even call spoilers on a trailer? Go watch the fucking trailer. It's gonna cost you 2 minutes of your life. Whatever. Fuck spoilers on this one. All right. So, the Doomsday thing. I don't know about you, but I've heard about that for months. So that wasn't a huge shock to me that he's in the movie.
I had no idea that, and I
They
was pretty pissed when I saw him.
kind of
I was
talked
like,
about
why?
it.
That would have been a huge surprise if they,
Well,
and
not
they
for me,
didn't
it
even
wouldn't.
have to show that. The name of the movie is Batman v Superman.
Right.
So you would think the entire movie encompasses that fight. Why
Mm-hmm.
would you show them teaming up to fight Doomsday? I mean, that would have been, for everybody that didn't, like, I'm very much now, like, staying away from any hidden news about movies and stuff like that because they want to ruin shit like this for you. And, I'm pretty pissed that they did a cut like this of the trailer because we got to saw a lot of sweet action of Batman and Superman fighting that didn't have to reveal any of the spoilers. I mean, why show them? So obviously you have them fighting
Mm-hmm.
in the trailer, and then them teaming up to fight Doomsday because they're all standing there together. And so obviously the whole movie is not about them fighting now. They have to team up to fight Doomsday. You've seen Doomsday now. There's not even a teaser for that. And worst of all, Batman is holding a gun in the trailer. A gun.
It's a bat gun. It's like not a real gun. It's like probably a
It
sonic
looks
gun.
it
or
looks
something.
like a damn shotgun or something.
I'm sure it's like a sonic weapon or some kind of advanced Wayne Enterprises technologies. That's the only way he rolls. He doesn't fire traditional projectiles. That's too low tech for Batman. Okay,
All right.
so
On the higher note, though, I will say I'm before poo pooing all of this.
okay,
I'm going to say I was blown away by the graphics and the special effects.
okay.
So,
All right, I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate here, and this is actually I'm basing most of this on an exchange that I had with Chris Gore, professional movie critic and nerd. Was on Attack of the Show and stuff. Really cool guy, actually. I love Chris Gore. He's really fucking funny. I follow him on Facebook, and he actually reacted basically the same way that Tyler did, where he was upset, that they were revealing all these, spoilers and things, and Tyler particularly mentioned, like the end of the fight between Superman and Batman and the Doomsday thing and all this other stuff. And the Doomsday thing, whether or not you heard about it, okay, I obviously did, so I wasn't hugely surprised. Like, I even knew that it was coming from Zod's DNA. Like, that had leaked months ago. That was why Jesse Eisenberg, playing Lex Luthor, because that's all I'm going to call it right now, wanted Zod's body because he was going to clone him and basically make Doomsday. Okay, so that part didn't really irk me, but again, Chris made the same comment that Tyler did, that he was upset that we saw that the fight wasn't between Batman and Superman wasn't going to be through the whole movie. Guys, I'm gonna have to ask you the same question that I asked Chris Gore. What the fuck rock have you been living under, dude? Because I don't think that this is me being a nerd or even like following this stuff religiously in the news, and I admittedly I have been. I could not be any less surprised that they're having to put aside their shit and face a common foe. I knew that that was the way that this movie was going to end when it was announced, because that's the only logical way that this thing can end, because the subtitle for this movie is The Dawn of Justice, meaning at some point they're going to stop fighting and be like, we got to come together as a team. And that team, since we knew Wonder Woman was in it, and they're basically the three heads of the Justice League: Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. So I'm like, okay, at some point they're going to put aside their shit. There's going to be some kind of common foe. I just assume it was Lex Luthor, and they're going to have to team up to basically take on a mutual enemy. However, since I wasn't shocked at all by that. What I was upset about in the trailer was that they kind of gave away something that would have been an audience applause moment when Batman is basically trapped inside the Batjet or whatever after it got taken down by Superman, and Doomsday is about to fucking blast them in the next week. Wonder Woman comes in, throws up the shield, and blocks it, you know, kind of out of nowhere. And then they look at each other, and Superman's like, I assume she's with you, and Batman looks at him like, I thought she was with you. Granted, killer fucking line. Like, I'm getting fucking goosebumps just talking about that shit. But dude, that would have been, I can see that, like, not being revealed and playing to an audience and people on their fucking feet clapping for something like that. For Wonder Woman coming in and being like, baddest fucking woman on the planet. So I'm upset about that.
It's not so much that we're upset that that's in the movie. It's the fact that the whole movie's been fucking laid out.
Yeah,
before you watch it.
That's what I'm saying, is that they gave that away. I wanted to be surprised about that.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, the whole thing that pissed me off was that I'm going in this movie you know that they're not going to kill each other or
not.
One of them's going to die because it's the dawn of justice. At the end, they've got to get together.
Mm-hmm.
But why fucking lay it out there?
Yeah, we know the exact moment when that happens. That's what you're saying. Like, right. We know right when that starts.
And why lay out the Doomsday? I'd rather be surprised by that. And regardless, on the comic book sites, yeah, y'all probably knew that was what was coming as far as, you know, who they were fighting or whatever. But I just would have, and to pick him to initially form the group, maybe if they could have picked somebody else, I think that would have been an awesome. I think that would have been an awesome boss. I think that would have been an awesome enemy for them to fight in the first Avengers movie. I mean, not Avengers, Justice League movie. And, you know, that would bring them all back together. Like, Doomsday is almost like the Thanos for the DC universe. Not power-wise, but I'm just saying something that could bring everybody together, that could... they could go into the death of Superman story or whatever. And yeah, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. Jimbo, what would you like to say?
I would have to argue and say that Darkseid is the Thanos of DC Universe. They're very similar.
No, I'm not saying like he is the equivalent of Thanos. I'm saying he could be the glue to pull in all these different stories. Not he's the equivalent to Thanos power wise. But, you know, if you read the whole Death of... I know you have read the Death of Superman. But, you know, that was, you know, something that all the, you know, Justice League banded together to try and stop him or whatever. And not the entire group in that story, but, you know, members of it.
No, it was.
And I think that would have been cool. See, but I don't remember Batman being a part of it at that point.
Well, not Batman. Batman and Wonder Woman were basically the two that were omitted. That were
holdouts.
Like, we're talking
that could have been something that you could have fudged with and added Batman, and that would have been cool. But I just am thinking as like, what if I were the head of DC Universe, and like the Kevin Feige or whatever his name is for Marvel, like, how could I bring them all together? And I think that would have been a cool story to bring them together initially. And, you know, you could have still had the story with them, like, kind of being like the initial formation of the group and, you know, them splintering off to all their different movies, maybe have a different enemy for them to fight. But I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. But one thing I was not happy with was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. He's just a little too goofy for me as Lex Luthor. I don't know. I'm so used to seeing Lex as this. I know he's kind of goofy in some of the movies, but I guess Smallville ruined me. Michael Rosenbaum played such a good Lex Luthor, and just that cool, calculating, you know, enemy for Superman, and you know, Jesse's just kind of goofy and got that long hair, and I just don't.
It's all an act. We
I'm
know that he
sure
goes bald for the movie. It's. I'll go on record and I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen
when
here.
he makes Doomsday, something from probably from that's gonna burn his hair off. What do you want about
Oh, I'm sure.
when he's
It's.
like,
I'm sure that I'm honestly not defending this, guys. This is just my personal opinion. But if I'm right, I fucking told you so. I think what's going to happen is the visage of Lex Luthor that we saw in this trailer is basically his cover, meaning that that's not the real him. It's a facade that he's putting on. When the shit goes down and he goes into like straight up megalomaniac mode, I think it's going to be a lot different because let's face it, if Lex Luthor existed today as this like, world dominating, freaking billionaire, basically the dark side of Bruce Wayne, he would basically be like Steve Jobs or the head of Google. He'd be some freaking young guy from some IT upstart whose genius basically propels him into, billionaire status. So I kind of like that they got the guy literally who played that exact person in the fucking Facebook movie to play Lex Luthor because it's in that capacity, it's actually kind of convincing because they're modernizing him a little bit. Instead of just being like this daddy warbucks, fucking bald old guy, they're like, well, if he existed today, what would he be like? And that's basically what he would be like. He'd be the villain. So, he'd be a Steve Jobsy type, like putting out products that are taking over the world, putting out the next iPad and the iPhone and all that other shit and like feeding his way into fucking society. So I think when the hair comes off that we're going to see like the real Lex Luthor, meaning like the dark, cold, I want to kill Superman kind of sinister motherfucker. But, okay. So yeah. As far as Doomsday, I'm not thrilled that he's in this movie just for one singular reason. They're cutting the nuts off of Doomsday. Doomsday basically single-handedly took down Superman and most of the Justice League by himself. And half of that fight, I want to add, he had an arm tied behind his back. He's that fucking dangerous. I mean, if you've got to push Superman, like the fucking Zeus of superheroes, to his fucking limits, where he almost died, just putting down Doomsday. Someone could say, oh, he fucking killed Superman. No, he didn't. He just put him in a coma. You can't kill Superman, ladies and gentlemen. As long as we're on fucking Earth with a yellow sun, the best you can do is run him out of power, which is basically what happened. He's a giant solar battery, and he ran out of juice. Because Doomsday's the only person who's ever made him have to use 100% of his fucking stored solar energy. There's your fucking science nerding for the day. So, granted, okay, does it make sense that they have to come together to fight Doomsday because he's definitely a villain at that level where it's going to take the three of them to bring him down? Yes, that makes perfect fucking sense. But, yeah, I know this is never going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, but the fanboy in me is always going to want to see the true death of Superman on the screen, and I would want to see it right now where they're already setting up sequels and everything. They could write this into the fucking lineage where one of the Justice League movies, like it's Superman versus Doomsday, and the rest of Justice League comes in to help, but in the end, they're trading blows, buildings are getting knocked down and shit like that, and Superman brings him down, but basically, quote, kills himself, in the process. Cut to next movie, where they find out he's not really dead, then it's the process of bringing back Superman, then the fucking Justice League has to rebuild the pieces. You can bring in fucking Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel, not that fake-ass fucking Marvel shit. I'm talking Shazam. Yeah, that's right, I fucking said it. Fuck Marvel. So, the real Captain Marvel, you bring in your A-listers from the Justice League, bring in the Flash, bring the fucking Green Arrow. God, why the fuck isn't DC hiring me to do this, man? I could make them like $8 billion. That is the way that I would do this. Like, you could build the death of Superman into this new Justice League thing, and it would be fucking amazing. This would be like the Dark Avengers, which is exactly what I want it to be. I want it to be the grounded shit. Okay, so that being said, dude, the ending shot, it's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman getting ready to fight Doomsday. What more do I want? Other than what I just stated, other than that, I mean, dude, fucking, you know what, fuck Batman. Superman and Wonder Woman, the world's most powerful man, the world's most powerful woman. Fucking, dude, I am Wonder Woman's fucking cheering section, dude. She's the only woman who can go toe-to-toe with Superman. And I like that they, like, digitally stretched her to make her look as tall as the two guys. Because she's fucking Amazon. She's supposed to be over 6 feet tall, so it's like they made her look bigger than she. I mean, Gal Gadot's 5'10", so she's not exactly short, but they made her look like she's like 6'4". which she's
that
supposed
footage
to.
with her
She
was
looks
badass.
big. I'm like, dude, that is fucking Wonder Woman, man. Ugh. Like she's like
The part where
just
her,
like
her shield absorbed
fucking
the
blocks
blast
it.
was
I'm just
amazing.
like, dude, she's like, is that all you got? I'm fucking Wonder Woman, motherfucker. Now, what would have been more awesome is if she used the bracers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are basically adamantium, dude. You can't even Superman has tried to break them and he can't do it, and he's fucking Superman. So I mean, those things are basically indestructible, dude. As long as she like, I want to see her get a hold of fucking Doomsday with the lasso, because A, that's really hot, and B, that would be awesome. Because again, unbreakable. So it's like, will it work on him? Will that like compel him to tell the truth and shit? He'd be like, "Oh, I wouldn't kill Superman." I don't know. Either way, it's gonna be fucking awesome. But I'll bet you she's gonna use it on Lex. She'll get him to tell the truth about shit.
I'm excited to see it regardless.
I can't fucking wait. Like all my bullshit against it, that they basically just they took one of the big surprises out of it for me. Because, dude, I would have been on my fucking feet clapping if I had seen that in the theater. Because in my house watching the trailer, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's how you do a fucking trailer. You know, I'm like, dude, fucking eat this, Marvel. Oh, like I mean, dude, you know that was what DC was doing. They're just like, top this, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you got the Avengers, dude. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Mic drop. I mean, that's like...
Yeah, we've been waiting for them to do this for a while now, and it's good to see they came out swinging on this one. So, yes. March is going to be a big month for sure.
I can't wait. I mean, dude, just getting Batman and Superman facing off. We're literally getting almost the world's finest movie. Even though they're not on the same side and they're fighting each other now. But, you know, maybe we'll get that in the second movie. But I'll tell you one thing. All right, we'll close with this. If they had shown Aquaman in this, I would have been pissed. So we still do have that to look forward to. We haven't seen any, other than Jason Momoa standing there in the costume, just in a picture, holding the scepter and looking like a bad motherfucker, I might add. Unite the Seven.
I'm gonna be pissed if the next trailer shows him.
I mean, dude, we haven't seen the Flash is in it. We haven't seen him. We haven't
seen
is he?
I didn't know he was
Flash
in
is in it. Ezra Haynes, I think, is the guy playing, and supposedly maybe the Green Lantern, maybe.
Okay.
Because they've already announced the Green Lantern movie, and dude, they're doing the Green Lantern Corps. Why didn't they do that to begin with? Because it's bigger than one guy. Like, make it a fucking team. I mean, because they're a team. They're cops, basically, man. Part of an intergalactic police force. It's so much bigger than one guy. Just don't make Tyrese John Stewart, please. No, he's not smart enough. Don't do that, DC.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
Fuck fucking Tyrese. No, Idris Elba. I don't care. Just anyone but Tyrese. Make Tyler Tyrese. Make Tyler John Stewart. I don't care. We'll do it white. It's all good. I don't care. Just not John Stewart. He'd be like, in blackest day, in darkest night. Beware my pal, Green Lantern's light. Yeehaw! Can you fucking imagine that shit?
Oh wow, that was such a horrible impersonation.
I know it was. I had to exaggerate it.
That was a caricature.
That's any good impersonation.
Wow, that's hilarious.
So, all right. So DC, fuck you for spoiling that, but I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not 50 times more amped than I was. It's gonna be fucking amazing. But there's something I wanted to add to what we talked about last week. Remember you talking that we saw the little thing with Superman taking the mask off Batman? I didn't even think of this at the time. You know, I know that's a dream sequence. Why would Superman need to do that? He has fucking X-ray vision. He like that was the whole thing in the comics. Is Batman shows up and he's like, "So, Bruce Wayne," and he's like, "You peaked." He's fucking Superman, dude. He doesn't need to do that. He knows right away that he's fucking Batman. Duh. And of course, Batman, world's greatest detective, he just basically puts a fucking tracker on Clark and he figures out that he's Superman. They both got their little tools. You could tell in that conversation that they were having.
They already
knew. He knew he was Superman.
Right.
Like he was this he's sizing. I mean, dude, come on. He's wearing glasses. Do you think Batman would be so stupid that he wouldn't see through that? I'd be like, world's greatest detective, my ass. Jeez, I mean, he looks out, he's like, wow, that guy looks like Superman. Next thing you know, bat computer, it is Superman. There you go. I mean, what is
Yeah,
Alfred going to be like? Really, Master Wayne? He's wearing fucking glasses. Like, world's greatest
right.
detective. My ass.
Yeah, and I got that too. Like immediately when I was watching, I was like, they already know who each other are.
Yeah,
I mean, so I'm excited to see them fight.
it's going to be
I just want
awesome.
to see what contraptions Batman's got. I mean, that suit looks badass.
Yeah, I mean, he had to build it to be Superman proof, so who knows what
Right.
it's made out of. I mean, he does the same thing in the Dark Knight comic books, basically, but again, that's an older Batman and an older Superman, so that's way down the road. But there's a rumor that we might get to see Lex in his own suit, which has been in
Oh,
the comics.
nice.
He's basically in a kryptonite suit, like a fucking like Lex in like a mech suit, basically, but it's powered by kryptonite. So, yeah, that'd be bad for Superman. He would actually kind of need Batman in that instance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. In Man of Steel, they didn't talk about kryptonite once. I don't know if you caught that. Kryptonite is in 0% of that movie. They didn't even mention it.
Right.
So that, I think, is going to be the big reveal this time, is that Superman is going to discover that he's allergic to kryptonite. But Batman will just be like, just like holding that shit out in front of him and be like, yeah, science is awesome, bitch. You know? I mean, and he'll probably get the shit from Lex, who has a meteorite collection. So, yeah.
Right.
See, dude, I'm thinking about this shit. I know
I
people.
like it. I love having my own little personal comic book nerd here on the podcast. I can pick their brain.
When it comes to
I
DC,
mean,
baby, right here.
damn expert.
Fuck yeah, dude. See, I should have made that one of my Christmas stories. I got the Death of Superman for Christmas.
Nice.
I got the graphic novel, and I remember sitting there reading it, listening to my new Megadeth CD, fucking Countdown to Extinction, and I remember actually being sad when I got to the end. I mean, we knew that Superman wasn't dead. They had already announced, like guys, we're gonna bring him back. Just relax. But I mean, remember what a big deal that was? Like Jay Leno wearing a fucking armband on like live on the show. Like every time you bought the comic, it came with the black armband with the S on it. It was like a phenomenon, dude.
Yeah.
It was like fucking Walt Disney dying or something like that. I mean, the nation was in fucking mourning. You know, our greatest hero had fallen. And people were like, fuck, you can't fucking kill Superman. Like, no! Like, you can't do that. That's like, not America anymore.
Well, Jimbo, just kind of on a more somber note here to segue into something that just recently happened. Were you pretty upset about the Scott Weiland passing away?
Well, okay. I will say this. Am I the least bit surprised? Do we know it's drugs yet?
No, I think everybody pretty much knows that it probably was
He
drug
wasn't that old.
related, but
So if it
no.
wasn't like drugs, it was basically just like a life of drug abuse that might have eventually caught up to him. Again, we're just speculating, ladies and gentlemen. We don't really know, but I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Dude's been in rehab, I don't know how many times, but am I really surprised that this is the way Scott Weiland went out? No, not really at all. I will say this. I did get to see Velvet Revolver perform once. And I had pretty good seats, actually. I have a picture I'll show you sometime. We were actually pretty close to the stage. And, dude, first of all, they were awesome. I mean, it was like the next best thing to seeing Guns N' Roses. This is like one step down from that. And even Weiland, dude, they were fucking bringing it the whole time. And something I will always remember from that concert, it started to rain, and they played Here Comes the Water as it began to rain. I was like, it's like they timed it or something. Like, yeah, here comes the water. And right then the rain started falling. I was like, holy shit, this is weird. But no, they were incredible. I mean, just getting to see Slash and Duff and the rest of the guys like up close, and Weiland doing his thing, like fucking smoking on stage while he's playing. I'm like, guys, these guys are like some of the last real rock stars left on the planet. They are a dying breed, ladies and gentlemen. And these guys are from that generation where rock stars were so fucking big. Like cigarettes, booze, none of that could kill them. These guys were like indestructible. And I'm just very, very happy that I got to see him perform, and I was not disappointed. He really brought it.
Yeah, I got to see Stone Temple Pilots back in the day before they broke up, and having him sing "Dead and Bloated," pulling out the megaphone and doing "Dead and Bloated" was amazing. But yeah, it's sad to see him go. He'll definitely be missed. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorite groups from back in the early '90s, and '80s. So, although they didn't hit it big till the '90s, that's probably when I discovered them. But yeah, that's sad. But yeah, man, that's about all I got for this week. I'm bucketed out.
You're bucketed out. Well, we did rage kind of hard about Superman Batman. So
Yeah,
that takes a lot out of you.
it
So
does.
that's okay. We can do a slightly shorter episode this time because God, what was the last one? Almost three fucking hours.
Yeah.
Like the marathon episode, dude. I never thought it was going to be that long. I figured we'd be done in like 90 minutes, but guys, I mean, not that we're complaining, but you guys came out in droves, man. Fucking the questions were just like bringing it.
And Johnny was such a trooper.
Oh, dude, Johnny's such
and he
a
hung out
fucking
with
rock
us
star.
after we got done. So
Yeah.
we got to sit there and talk to him for a while after that.
I didn't go to work the next day. It was like 1
Oh,
o'clock
damn.
in the fucking morning when we got off that shit. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sleep for 3 hours. Like, that's not happening. I'm just not going to go in.
Right.
You have leave time for a reason. So, but no, dude, that was super fucking cool, man. You guys were awesome. We really do have the best audience in the entire world. It was super cool.
Yeah.
Except for the 6 assholes that thumbed down that video. Fuck you guys. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I saw that. What a bunch of douches.
Yeah, we know who it is too, so go fuck yourself. But that's a story for another day. Well, if that's all you got, I can't think of anything else.
I can't either, man. Bucketeers, go out and leave us some questions for next week.
Yeah, man. We didn't need any questions for this week because it's just
Uh-uh.
we answered so many last week. I'm like, no, I think we're good for questions for a while. So we'll definitely bring back. We'll do user question. God, what? Can I ever say it right? Fuck! I keep saying user questions. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Listener questions. Listener and viewer questions. Listener and viewer questions. Listener and viewer. I got it. I'm going to try and get it right next time. I would show you a pickup because I've got like a stack of them right over there. But guys, Retro Game Hall, it's back this week. Your wait is over. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to save all of that. Save the load just for that one fucking video. It's going to be worth it. I promise. Well, I guess this wraps up this edition of the Nerd Bucket, Tyler.
Yep. It's been another fun one, buddy. As always.
They got their nerd fix. We gave it to them because that's how we roll. Well, I am Jimbo from Retro Game Lounge in the Retro Game Lounge, as always, because I never want to leave this room, ever. I want to be buried here. And that is Tyler and his beard from Metroid's Primed. And that's
me.
And that's all we have. So I'm just stalling to squeeze out like an extra couple of minutes on this.
See y'all next time.
See you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Come back now.
Come back now, huh? Go fuck your...